Yeah. Yeah. Can you believe they told me that I would never make it? Now we smiling in their faces, smiling in their faces.
What is it between you and Stephen A. Smith?
You're at the NBA Finals playing solitaire. NBA Finals. That would be, if you caught me at a strip club playing solitaire, you would think I was gay and didn't like women. If I catch you at an NBA Finals playing solitaire, I think you're gay and don't like basketball. He's fraudulent. He's lying about his college basketball career. He's admitted he's lying about his college basketball career. And I knocked down 17 straight three-pointers, and they gave me a scholarship on the spot.
And I hit 17 straight.
17 threes?
17 straight three-pointers. I couldn't miss.
That's incredible.
And when I did that, he signed me to a scholarship on the spot.
That's incredible. You hit 7?
Back then, they're not giving out scholarships on the spot to anybody.
When you responded to the dynamic of saying being labeled an Uncle Tom or you're cooning.
So bear with me, guys. I got a lot of clips to go over for today's show. It's going to be a longer episode, but listen, I'm breaking down everything that I think is really, really important. And I think that you guys should listen to this full video because I think you'll enjoy this. And after the video, I want you to go watch the full entirety of the video because it was a beautiful conversation for sure. Welcome back to Tyler Rose TV. If you guys are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe and hit the bell if you enjoy the content on this channel. So I recently came across a great interview. I mean, this interview is exactly what America needs, the world needs, and everybody needs. A position of opposing views, right? And to be able to sit down and speak eloquently, also respectfully, and just have open dialogue without going down each other's throats, without name calling, without raging, without just getting it out of hand. This right here is probably the best interview. I don't even know if it's an interview. It's a conversation that I've seen all year. And I don't want to highlight the negative part, even though that's a lot of what's in the title. I do want to highlight a few parts. So if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe. But let's highlight a few clips that I felt was really great to watch. Let's get into that.
Surpass him. Cam then, in my view, made a pivot to where he wanted to be a bit more of a cultural icon. And I thought it was a mistake. I think that when you're a franchise quarterback, there's a clean-cut way that the organization wants you to present yourself. I think that young men, particularly young black men, have spent way too much time worrying about their hairstyle, their fashion statements, any of that. I think it's all a mistake. I think it's all a waste of energy.
That I signed with Under Armour. It was at that time upwards of $1 million. And I was surprised given that I was wondering why we didn't get opportunities like said LeBron James, said Kevin Durant, said basketball players. But I learned that football players are considered masked athletes. Not a lot of people know exactly who they are if they take off their helmet. Now you may say Tom Brady, that's a outlier. You say Odell Beckham, that's an outlier. You say Aaron Rodgers, that's Josh Allen, those are outliers. But for the majority of football players, you do not, or you are not recognized outside of your number and how you look. So when he asked me the question, what are you to think about this particular deal? And I responded, I don't just see myself as a football player. I see this deal being created because I possess a power of being not just a football player, but an entertainer and an icon. That subject matter was the subject of, and it caught fire, like Cam Newton sees himself as an entertainer and an icon, hence to the word, or to why we call Iconic Saga. And that was something that was taken out of context. Did I say it? Absolutely. But the question wasn't also inserted with the response.
As you can see, he cleared up a lot of the confusion, right? And then these are like some uncomfortable questions and things that happen within especially the black community, when you're critical of black folks, they call you names typically, and they question whether you do for this or do for that. And these conversations can be uncomfortable.
When you responded to the dynamic of being labeled an Uncle Tom or you're cooning, but can you see how people will feel? Because if we're keeping it above, Mr. Whitlock, the way that you critique the culture or black entertainers or black athletes or black, subjects, it's completely different than how you critique the Caucasian subject. When I hear you talk about Deion Sanders, when I hear you talk about Cam Newton, when I hear you talk about Joy Taylor, when I hear you talk about Stephen A. Smith, those subjects to me is like, all right, well, when you talk about John Elway, when you talk about Brett Favre, when you have conversations with Tucker Carlson, with Fox News and talking politics and things, it just doesn't give the same type of energy as the counter. Do you understand?
I understand what you're saying, but it's just not factually true. And it would be like, I've had access to watch the overwhelming majority of your NFL games and games at Auburn. You haven't had access to watch how I operate as a journalist. You see glimpses and pieces, but you could go throughout my entire history as a journalist. Do you know who Marty Schottenheimer is or was? Carl Peterson was the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs. I was based in Kansas City. That's where I made my name. Marty Schottenheimer and Carl Peterson and Scott Pioli and Todd Haley, who was the head coach at the Chiefs for a time, any of these guys. These are all white guys. They would all say, like, Cam, you're crazy, man. This dude killed me and killed us. And talked about, and again, there's receipts for all of this, but you didn't follow the Chiefs. You're not from Kansas City. The internet wasn't as pervasive. Even today, to what I do today, you're not interested. When I criticize a Bruce Pearl that I started my entire show with yesterday, goes completely over your head. But trust me, Bruce Pearl is completely aware that I trashed him all yesterday. Bill Belichick's got this little 25-year-old sugar baby. The only time your ears perk up, and this isn't an attack, is like, oh, Deion, because I like Deion and I see him, blah, blah, blah. All you care about is that I attack black people. But the facts are the facts. It's everywhere. Take my attacks on Stephen A. Smith, which have been brutal. Call Mike Lupica and see if he didn't get a taste of exactly what I do to Stephen A. Smith. It's comical. The accusation that somehow I don't criticize white people is comical, and it's not based in fact. It would be the same if I sat here and said Cam Newton ran a 5.2 40, you would laugh it off. You're like, what game was he watching? And when I hear people talking about Whitlock doesn't attack white people, it's like someone saying you ran a 5.2 40.
This right here is a clear sign of what we should use our platforms for. Like, we can get up here and share our opinions all day, but we should also be respectful and also allow other people with opposing views to come on the show and speak and have a great conversation as men, as humans, and more importantly, as people who, are under one nation, under God. But it's time for the part of the show where I don't really say it's negative. I think it's truthful, I should say. I know in the beginning of the video I said negative, but I want to say it's truthful. Let's take a listen to why Jason Whitlock has a problem with Stephen A. Smith. And these problems are a real eye-opener, especially when it comes to his career and who he is as a person.
What is it between you and Stephen A. Smith?
Look, and I got to be respectful. You work with Stephen A. And so
this has
I don't want to go.
Listen. Look, you said you go keep it in a buck.
A thousand.
Keep it 1,000 now. At the end of the day, I'm cordial with Stephen A. Smith just like I'm cordial with anybody else. It shouldn't come with a filter preface with it. And it's not to say that I'm about to sit there, hey, I got you. No, it's just a simple question.
Your words, your statement.
What is it up with
man,
you and Stephen A?
I've done the homework on Stephen A. He's fraudulent. He's lying about his college basketball career. He's admitted he's lying about his college basketball career. If I sat in the media space for 20 years telling everybody, I played for Big House Games and I got a full ride scholarship after knocking down 17 straight three-pointers in a scrimmage on a Sunday when they played a game on Saturday and they hosted a scrimmage on Sunday and I knocked down 17 straight three-pointers and they gave me a scholarship on the spot. Anybody familiar with HBCUs? Anybody familiar with Winston-Salem State and how little money Winston-Salem State has and had back then? They're not giving out scholarships on the spot to anybody. It's all a lie. And I've done the homework. And he runs around with these former teammates. There's some dude named Gary Stevens that, if you go back and look at the newspaper articles like I did, Gary Stevens was some 6'3" guard. The Gary Stevens that Stephen A. runs around with is some 5'9" midget who played basketball up in New York for some school called Old Westbury. They're running around taking flights and posting Instagram photos. Yeah, we're Winston-Salem State teammates. It's all a lie. It's fraudulent. Everybody has seen someone like Stephen A. Smith who in 4th grade, by his own admission, got held back because they thought he was retarded. When he was in 11th grade, his counselor laughed at the thought of him going to college. And again, someone like me that's a journalist that followed, we're the same age. We came up together. I know how fraudulent he was as a sports writer and how they had to rewrite everything that he did. And to see him passed off as the face of sports journalism and the top of the profession. Cat Williams already done told you what that was about. They all get installed. Bob Iger and the $20 million a year that they give this guy to be a puppet and the standard for sports journalism. It's a joke. And I know I know it factually. He knows it factually. So none of his teammates, his alleged teammates, they won't talk on the record because I've tried to interview virtually all of them. They won't address it. Winston State, what was Mama Roseboro that he had on TV pretending like she was his college professor? She was some sort of secretary in the president's office. I could go on and on and on. He's doesn't know sports, doesn't follow sports. You're at the NBA Finals playing solitaire. NBA Finals. That would be, if you caught me at a strip club playing solitaire, you would think I was gay and didn't like women. If I catch you at an NBA Finals playing solitaire, I think you're gay and don't like basketball.
How is he gay? Because he's one.
Like, God,
come on, bro. Come on, bro. You push it. Come on.
So
I got
you think Stephen
That's your
A. Smith
takeaway from
is
what I
false?
just said. Your takeaway is you think I didn't say
I understand what you're
he
saying.
was gay. I just said he got 2 kids. I'm not saying that, but he don't like sports. He's playing solitaire at the NBA Finals. I know y'all collect a check with him, and I know the idolatry issues, and we have this whole thing because someone has a bunch of money. We think they're smart, or we think there's someone worthy of respect. Having a bunch of money don't mean anything in a world this corrupt.
I think
It tends to indicate that you're willing to be corrupt, you're willing to be compromised.
So I'll say this, right? As long as Bob Iger, Disney is giving me the opportunity to expand my platform, I don't feel a way like you feel. They've been unbelievable to me.
Don't ask me, ask Cat Williams. Cat Williams is the one that told you how this game operates. Blame Cat Williams. He told you how to get installed. And a lot of it has to do with bending over. Period. End of story.
That's aggressive.
Yeah.
That's very aggressive.
You asked, Cam. I sat here and said,
that is your take. That's true.
You're right.
That is true.
Right.
That's your opinion.
You're right.
That is your opinion.
You are absolutely right, Mr. Whitlock. Who am I to tell you you're wrong or right? But with working with Stephen A. Smith, right, and I see how people attack him, I think he is the peak of the spear in sports journalism, whether we want to agree with it or not. How he got there is his story to tell. I'm not sitting up here insinuating that there was any type of illegitimacy to him just working hard, paying his time to be.
I think he made 17 straight threes.
I don't know if he did or
But
not.
what does that have to do with his sports taste?
Going back to the tattoo.
It has a lot to do when your whole persona is based off of, hey, I was a former college basketball player. That's why I know the NBA, blah, blah, blah. He's built an entire brand around being a basketball guru because I played at Winston-Salem State under Big House Games. Trust me, if you found out I never played football at Ball State, it would undermine my credibility.
Stephen A. Smith is really just that uncle that's lying at the barbecue. Oh, back in my day, I had 17 straight threes. I got a scholarship to North Carolina. Yeah. You know, he's one of them uncles that's just lying, bro. You can't trust what he's saying because he wants to look cool in front of his nephews and his nieces, and he wants to, pass me the ball, and he starts breaking the shots. Oh, don't mind that. I had 17 straight threes, and I got a scholarship, the D1 scholarship, you know? It's like, man, it sucks because I like Stephen A. Smith. I enjoy, especially early on in his career. I don't care for his stuff now, but I do think he was really funny early on. The Cold Pizza days with Skip. I think he was entertaining. His commentary was good. I liked him. But as you kind of unpeel the layers, you look at him again as you get older, as you see Jason Whitlock expose things, as you see the deals he's done, the things he said, it's like, I don't know. I don't know if that's really him. I think when you get a $100 million deal, you have to compromise your beliefs and morals. And I think that just comes with the territory. That's why a lot of people who aren't in that space, they sometimes are more enjoyable to watch because they're not, backed by corporate sponsors, backed by a machine like ESPN, and they can speak freely. There's no agenda being pushed. So I think Whitlock in this situation is looking at it, right? And I think he's looking at it from the standpoint of this. I'm just as old as Stephen A. Smith. I remember his career. I remember him coming up. We both came up the same way. And now he's the face of journalism, the face of sports, journalism right now. And there's people far more superior in that skill set, in that lane, right? And now he sees a guy be the face of it who knows is fraudulent, who knows is compromising his beliefs, who knows all these things that maybe a lot of people didn't know. And he's like, yo, I don't respect that. And I don't want to have people sitting there having idolatry to a false idol who's not really in that space because he lied to boost his career up. A bold-faced lie to boost his career and his credibility to speak on a sport that he never really played at a high level, but at least acted like he did. So I can understand Jason Whitlock's angle at it. And the solitaire thing, was funny. It's funny. I don't think he is gay. I don't think Stephen A. Smith's gay. But I do think that Jason Whitlock was making an example, and the example was true. I mean, hey, listen, if he's playing solitaire at a strip club, I would question why are you not interested in what's going on? Just like Stephen A. Smith playing solitaire at the NBA Finals, are you not interested in what's going on? I wouldn't call him gay. I think that was just a little cherry on top to deliver it. But honestly, this conversation was amazing. I want you guys to watch this in its entirety. I don't want you to just watch this video and be done. I hope you actually stayed for the whole video because there's a lot that I kind of unpacked on this video. Overall, guys, I appreciate you guys for watching. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe and make sure you're following us on Instagram, Tyler Rose TV. I'm going to be doing some street interviews actually today. Today is Sunday the 22nd, so I'm going to March Madness. Going to be doing some street interviews, asking people some questions about the NCAA, about the NBA, and things of that nature. So if you guys are new, hit that subscribe, follow us on Instagram, hit the bell, leave a comment, thumbs up. I'm going to see you guys on the next video.